Manimal came along in September of 1983, and in many ways it never had a chance. Jonathan Chase is a horse's patoot. Brooke Mackenzie is eye candy. Tyrone Earl is there. Lieutenant Rivera exists. Even though the effects were done by award-winning creators, nobody liked Jonathan's transitions. But perhaps one of the biggest factors that did it in was the competition. Dallas was in its 5th season, and America's love-hate relationship with the Ewings was undiminished. Even people like me who had never watched the show tuned in to find out who shot JR and shook our heads in disbelief when it turned out an entire season was all a dream. Some genius thought Manimal could compete with that. Some genius probably lost his job because today we're looking at the final episode.
Next time I get to sit in the car, my feet are killing me. Door's opening. Oh, it's him. He's got the briefcase. He's heading this way. JC, I think he spotted me. We might have a problem here.
Ty is much better at the direct approach than he is at being sneaky. The guy walks right up to him and says, "Let's take a walk." Now, Ty doesn't really feel like walking, as he said his feet are hurting. But when you put it that way...
Let's move.
That's Jonathan's cue to get out, find a hiding place, and come up with some other form of rapid locomotion.
Hold it right there! Police officer, don't move.
She ain't horsing around either.
I get the feeling he's been waiting the whole series for Jonathan to become a horse just so he could say that. Delivery could have been better. Work on your stand-up a little more before you head to the open mic nights. The cocaine in that briefcase is worth over $10 million. Quite a feather in Officer Mackenzie's cap, especially since the narcotics division has been trying to get this guy for over a year.
Thanks, Professor.
Oh, don't thank me, Lieutenant. All the credit belongs to little Annie Oakley.
Which reminds me, how did you wind up with that horse?
There is one very angry mounted patrolman who could probably explain it better than I could.
It was nice that Jonathan gave her the credit, but of course he had to do it in the most male supremacy way possible. Little Annie Oakley. I think Brooke needs to get out the riding crop and teach him who's boss again. Instead, Rivera will give her a 3-day weekend with pay. Jonathan says, "That's perfect. Ty and I are going camping. You can come along."
Ty and you? I am not going camping again.
Oh, come on, where's your spirit of adventure? Until you've hunted the wild fighter Leca Americana, you've not lived.
Someday I'm gonna die making sure I've lived.
If camping is that stressful for you, I think you're doing it wrong.
What about you, Brooke?
Sounds good for you macho types, but what I need is a nice large dose of boredom.
Excellent. Birch Hollow is exactly that. It is the sleepiest and the most peaceful place on Earth.
Not to be a grammar Nazi, but you said is. I think you mean was.
You really should do something about that broken glass. A person could get hurt.
I'd do what he says. It's probably not a good idea to say no to Freddy Krueger.
We want those petitions.
Do you think I'd be stupid enough to keep him here?
You were stupid enough to pass them around. Let's get out of here.
They'll take the newspaper man with them, though I'm not sure what they expect to do with him if he won't talk. I suppose they can torture him, but he looks kind of fragile, so they'd probably kill him by accident. And if they do kill him, they'll never find the petitions. So Freddy has kind of painted himself into a corner here. He's got this guy, and that's pretty much it.
You're the last person I'd ever think would be a hunter.
Fighter Leca Americana, my dear Brooke, is a rare species of wild flower. I need some new specimens for my research in antibodies. I don't know why you don't just call a florist.
Speaking of flower, there he is. That probably means Bambi is around here somewhere. Jonathan's car is staying right where it is because his front axle has developed a severe case of don't work anymore. There's only one thing to do and they'll do it.
Look on the bright side. At least it's not raining.
You had to say that, didn't you?
Old joke, but I admit they made it work.
What was that? Oh, just some predator tracking his kill.
Don't they believe in leash laws around here?
That may have been the golden bear. Jack Nicholas?
Oh, no, Ty, a different sort of bear.
The guardian of sort.
The golden bear is a local legend. When something threatens the valley, the golden bear appears to put down the threat and keep the people safe. But right now, our heroes are more interested in the car coming down the road.
I'd say that was lucky. Wouldn't you?
Maybe the golden bear can lead them to a shower. There's something kind of stereotypical about those cars.
Charlie, old son of a gun.
Hey, you look terrific.
How are you?
Fine. You can tell your fellows to take it easy. There won't be any trouble here.
Yep, gangster cars. You can spot them miles away. Meanwhile, another car has come along. It's not a huge black money pit, so the occupants are a little more friendly.
I'm Zeke. This is the Mrs. Sadie.
I'm Jonathan Chase. These are my associates, Brooke and Ty.
Folks would like a little something to make country living more bearable. There you are. Try a sample of that.
It's pure moonshine. She distills it and sells it. Zeke is the only person left in the valley who believes in the golden bear, so maybe he's the reason her profits have fallen off lately. Oh look, more of those nice, courteous drivers in the black gangster cars.
That's 5 of them.
Yeah, and the 4th out-of-state plate. Have you any idea what these limousines might be doing out here?
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, the old hotel's up ahead.
A hotel is the answer to Brooke's prayers. Too bad the guys in the black cars have booked the whole place. Too bad for them that Ty can be very persuasive when he wants to be.
You ever seen a gold shield?
No.
And take a gander at this and give us the best 3 rooms you got in the house.
What a remarkable coincidence that he just happened to have the keys to those very rooms right there in that one slot. Once he's cleaned up, Jonathan has found his rare flowers right outside the hotel window.
Get up. Now you tell me where my brother is right now, or I'll use this. I mean it.
He also found the not-so-rare Shotgunnus americanus. I'm guessing he has about 3 seconds to figure out who she is and who her brother might be.
Where's JC?
Answering the call of the wild.
Say what?
I just watched him drive off with a very attractive woman.
Boy, you gotta take your hat off to the man. How long we been here, 20 minutes?
Well, I think it's pretty inconsiderate.
Me too. Worst of it is he won't tell me how he does it.
If he tells you how he did this one, you might want to try something else. For one thing, she's into some rather unusual stuff.
You don't want me to get in there. Oh, this is silly. I mean, I could suffocate.
I hope you won't suffocate. I hope you'll tell me what happened to my brother.
Locking you in a box, for example.
You know who those guys are?
I get the feeling they're not Bible salesmen.
The tall one's with the New York Syndicate. And that guy with him? That's Charlie, somebody.
I thought he looked familiar. Charlie Garrett. The guy is so tough he sneezes and somebody drops dead in the Bronx.
It looks like we have a gangsters convention going on. Brooke wants to find out what they're doing there.
Hey, is your memory getting any better?
She still won't believe who he really is. Did he show her his ID? We've seen before that he has a valid police ID.
hope we didn't come at a bad time.
What the hell do you degenerates want?
Come on, Maggie. You're a smart girl. You should know why we're here.
We heard you had one of our guys in a box. We're here to make fun of him for getting caught by a girl.
I think we should give her a clue.
Okay. Fair enough. It's got something to do with certain petitions that would tie the hand of your town council.
Oh yeah, that too. The petitions were hidden in one of her books. Now they're in the fireplace. Jonathan has been trying to do this the nice guy way, and it's not working. On to plan B. Unfortunately, his transition took so long that by the time he clawed his way out of the box, the entire cabin was engulfed in flames. Maggie's bones were found and identified next to some kind of big cat, but Dr. Jonathan Chase was never seen or heard from again.
What the hell is that?
Why did she have a coconut in her fireplace? Oh, that's a ball of yarn from her basket next to the fireplace. Why is she making yarn out of a coconut? And now we know why we spent that time watching Maggie wash her hands. We were establishing where that water barrel was so it wouldn't come out of left field when Jonathan did that. At the hotel, Brooke and Ty are trying to find a spot where they can see and hear what's going on. The gangsters are having a big unveiling.
Gentlemen, I give you the new Birch Hollow Resort and Casino.
Now, is that something or what?
Is that something or what? Well, now I don't know. Which is it? That's the best he can come up with? And where do they intend to build this monstrosity?
Did we say something to the town council about restoring this place?
Well, it's cheaper to start from scratch.
And once we get the vote over with, we'll apply the same cost-effective methods to those sections of the town that we condemn and purchase.
In essence, they're planning to replace the town with this thing. They've bought the city council, and once the council votes to make the deal, they'll use legal means to steal everybody else's homes and land and leave the vast majority of the people with nothing. Maggie's brother is on the city council, and he was the only thing blocking the deal because the vote has to be unanimous. He also prints the local newspaper and was printing article after article after article condemning these guys and the council members who caved into them. He also circulated petitions all over town and had enough signatures to strip the city council of its authority to make this deal. That's why they grabbed him and why they're now going after Maggie. Ty and Brooke heard most of that.
The voting is nothing but a formality, strictly ceremonial. We got those people eating out of our hands.
Well, just watch it we don't lose a finger.
Lyle's handling it.
What I paid for his education, he don't make.
And the gangsters heard that. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. That was the local sheriff sitting there with the gangsters. He'll come to Brooke's rescue.
Sheriff, I'm a police officer, and this man works with me.
Cops?
I'm gonna have to take you both in.
On what charges?
Invasion of privacy, damaging hotel property.
Get him out of here.
Come on.
He's sitting there all chummy with the bad guys. She thinks identifying herself as a police officer is going to suddenly make him go straight. She would have done better to say they were honeymooners from Bug Tussle and they got lost in this big city hotel. Jonathan is tending to Maggie and getting the story from her.
My brother Jack's on the town council. So was Judge Greeley until they found him asphyxiated in his garage a month ago.
They made an example of the judge, and everybody else fell into line if they weren't already there. Everybody except Jack. Jack dug up some solid evidence linking the gangsters to the judge's murder. She hasn't been able to find that file, and now she can't find Jack. The council votes in 2 days. As we all know, that's exactly how long it'll take Jonathan to locate Jack and free him.
Mr. Chase?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, if you meant what you said about wanting to help me out, would you help me find Jack?
I will go straight back to my hotel and see what I can dig up.
Jonathan? Thank you.
Mandatory kiss achieved, she can go collect her paycheck. Meanwhile, Ty is telling Brooke the same thing I told her.
Why'd you have to say you're a cop? See, that's the trouble with you. Start spitting out the truth before you even giving a lie half a chance.
You think it would have helped if I said we were rehearsing for Romeo and Juliet?
No, but my lost honeymooners story might have had a chance. Brooke still hasn't grasped it.
They can't get away with this. 1, they didn't read us our rights, and 2, they didn't even allow us a phone call.
Great. Who's gonna hold them accountable for it? This isn't just who you're gonna call, this is how you're gonna do it.
When you gonna get here? These cops don't know from Dick Tracy. They're writing their own rules. If we get released, it'll be with tags around our toes.
We've stumbled onto something very big here.
You didn't just stumble upon something, you fell upon your face. Jonathan comes in, but the sheriff is refusing to release them.
Sheriff, where I come from, law enforcement agencies work together. That is, if they are actually enforcing the law.
I could slap you in the cell along with them as soon as I look at you.
Oh, Sheriff, I don't scare that easily.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Neither have you.
He's not sure what to do with someone who isn't cowed by his badge and his august shiny head. Jonathan stops outside so he can listen in on the sheriff's plans.
Thompson, he says these people know too much already. Would it be a shame if that pretty young cop got murdered by that low-life hoodlum in the cell with her? Yeah, when you tried to stop it, I was a witness. But you got there too late, so you had to kill him. It was either him or you. I'll swear to that. Wait till tonight, then move.
Brooke is a New York City cop. NYPD will investigate, and when you try to tell them that, they'll ask Lieutenant Rivera about Brooke and Tyrone, and I hope you don't have any plans for the next 30 years or so. Don't ask, just run. But not down the middle of the street, dodos. Told you. Despite his injury, they get away.
Have you seen these cracks?
And these claw marks. They gotta be half an inch deep.
Are you telling me a bear did this?
Not just a bear. The golden bear was here.
You sure it wasn't Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs breaking parole? Or maybe Mother Goose rented herself a jackhammer.
You got a better explanation, Sheriff? If it isn't the golden bear, it's the biggest freaking grizzly you ever saw. And I have news for you. Those little pop guns your deputies were using won't even slow it down.
The golden bear, Sheriff. I can feel it in my bones.
Well, that's your lumbago, Zeke.
Not necessarily. He didn't say which bones. Could be his tennis elbow.
I think I hit one of them. We found some blood up the road.
Oh, you think you hit one of them? Well, why the hell didn't you find out? Get the dogs, have them go over every inch of this mess, and bring back those fugitives. I don't care if you bring them back in handcuffs or in little pieces. Just bring them back.
Okay, but if they're in little pieces, you have to put them back together. We just spent 12 seconds watching them walk, and part of the time they were so far away they were almost invisible. This is the kind of thing that kills the pace of the show. If the goal is to slow things down a little and take a breather, this is sufficient.
Want to rest, Ty? Yeah, about 8 days in Tahiti.
They sit down, and moments later, Jonathan appears. Slowdown achieved, but without completely dampening the general pace that we've set.
That was very clever of you, rescuing us as that bear.
A bear.
What do you mean, what bear?
It's not like Jonathan to deny it to his friends, and he actually sounded sincere.
Take a look at this. These bear prints stop here.
You just lost them, that's all. There's some prints over here.
They're shoe prints. It's a man's print. I don't get it.
The dogs don't seem confused.
Yes, the dogs know what happened. His paws got tired and he stopped to put shoes on. Duh.
I don't understand. How can all the phone lines be out? All right. Yes, thank you.
They planned to wish her away to the cornfield. Okay, Maggie, here's how you do this. You run like mad the way you're doing, cutting across rows the way you're doing, and then you suddenly stop and become very quiet. You keep moving laterally for about 10 or 12 rows, then quietly go back the other way, maybe get down and crawl so you make as little noise as possible and you're less visible. A cornfield is a great place to hide because if you're careful, you can do that all day if you have to. Needless to say, she won't think of it. So they catch her.
In fact, I'm here to make peace.
Right. Give me a break.
Do better than that. I'll give you a proxy signed by your brother. Since he couldn't be there to do the vote on Sunday, he wanted you to do the honors and make it unanimous.
If I use that, I'll vote against you.
Then you'll never see your brother again.
You know your brother, Maggie. Would he consider it worth the sacrifice?
What is it, JC?
Dogs. They must have picked up our scent.
Speak for yourself. I showered this morning.
Was that before or after you started bleeding?
Got more kick than mules sitting on a hornet. Try that. We got company. Coming. Well, it's our hitchhiking friend. Come on in.
Zeke says, we're about as fond of the sheriff as you are, so you can lay low here until things settle down. And Sadie's got a brand new batch fresh from the still, so we won't get bored. But there's a small problem.
All right, boys, you can stop looking now.
The chickens have come home to roost.
Where are they?
Zeke Bethune's place. And leave the dogs behind. We don't want to ruin the surprise.
Yeah, the sheriff suspected they might head there, so he staked the place out.
I think I'll have a look outside.
You'll be sorry.
Everybody get down!
If you've ever seen The Gauntlet with Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke, you might remember what happened to a house in that movie. These guys don't have the firepower to do that to the Bethune place, but they're doing their best. It's working. We have casualties.
No!
But that's given Brooke an idea.
Everybody stand back!
Are you crazy?
Molotov cocktails are usually made with gasoline, but this stuff is a bit more potent than gasoline. Now everybody's getting into the act. Okay, everybody except Sadie. She's doing the important stuff. Of course, Jonathan will pick up the tab, and the bombs drive the sheriff and his men back enough that our trio is able to escape into the woods again. But Ty can't run anymore. It's time to use some things they learned in Vietnam and go on the offensive.
Well, the tracks lead off this way.
Get me down from here! Get me down from here!
I'm gonna guess Jonathan turned into a very large badger so he could dig that hole in time.
You know, Sheriff, the yogis hang upside down for hours on end. They say it stimulates the brain.
I'll kill you. I swear. As soon as I get down from here, you're all dead!
The key phrase is get down from there. Got any plans for how to do that? You won't get much help from your deputies. They fell down that hole and got their rifle barrels jammed up their noses.
Where are you hiding Jack Slocum?
I'll hang you till I rot before I tell you where he is.
Oh, you just did. Now, don't worry, Sheriff. We'll just borrow your keys.
There's only one place in town where you find fuzz like that, to the lint factory. It's pollen from a particular plant that Jonathan recognizes. It only grows in a few places, so they'll find it faster if he searches by air. While the two ordinary humans follow in the sheriff's jeep, Hawk Dude finds his flowers in the shack where they're holding Maggie's brother.
Did you hear that?
Relax, will you? It's probably a squirrel.
I better take a look.
Besides, we don't have anything for supper, and I make a mean squirrel cacciatore.
Let's go. Nice and easy. Come on.
One down, one to go. The trouble with that other guy is he just keeps coming back and 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 back.
Kelso! Hey, quit stalling, will ya? Just because you know you got a great hand. Oh!
The great hand just hit your nose. He grabs Jack and they dash out of there. The council is ready to vote and Maggie doesn't have much choice. They're voting by signing a ceremonial contract. She's up.
We're waiting.
Stop! Please! What? Everybody listen! These people are kidnappers and murderers. I have the evidence to prove it. You cannot...
I think that guy figured out that his little snub-nosed 38 is going to be about as effective as throwing a breadstick at it. Then again, the breadstick might be more effective if the bear is hungry.
Mister, you're gonna be sorry you did that.
After he wakes up, that is. The story is wrapped up, but we have one more thing to do.
I think that's very impressive. You go on vacation, and you wind up cracking a major case.
All right.
And that's the good news. Is then you submit a report. Looks like it was written by Goldilocks.
No, Goldilocks ran into 3 bears. Brooke only ran into 1.
If I hadn't seen it myself, I wouldn't have believed it.
What bear?
The one from Goldilocks. Weren't you listening?
Morning.
Jonathan.
Professor, was there a bear?
Answer him.
What? Spoil the fun.
As I said, we have another thing to do. We have to humiliate Brooke one more time. That's it for Manimal, and I don't think anybody missed it when it was gone. After the 5th episode, or the 4th if you don't count the pilot, the show went on hiatus for several weeks, and I'm not sure anybody noticed. It came back for 4 more episodes, basically everything they already had in the can, but ratings were mind-numbingly bad. I think a combination of poor, not to say misogynistic, writing, plus excessively long and ugly special effects, coupled with the competition I mentioned at the head of this episode, left audiences saying, "You've got to be kidding." Jonathan Chase, the shapeshifter, would appear one more time 15 years later in an episode of Glenn A. Larson's show Nightman, but other than that, he was pretty well forgotten. I can't honestly say that's a bad thing.